My name is David Humphries, better known as Hump the Grinder. I'm Hump the Grinder because I was playing music, grind out the jams. Actually, it was Hump the Grinder, the Sweet Spot Finder. That was the whole name. I dropped the second part of it for various reasons. Well, Hair Wars is something I never thought would develop into what it has. I was doing gimmick parties, and Hair Wars is the gimmick. I would do parties like, Big Legs Night. We did putting on the hits a lot of times. We did the Perfect Booty Contest. We did a few of them. We did sombrero hat night. You gotta have a hat to get in. Because I was doing parties every week, so sometimes we had to throw a gimmick in there, and hair was a gimmick. So I said, okay, for the next 4 weeks, we're gonna do exotic hair night. And that's really the first time I really pushed hair. We did a couple things before that with hair, but it was a lot of hairstyles coming to my party. And I knew that they hung out a lot. They had money and they had to get up in the morning, so they can hang any night of the week. So this is my full-time thing. So I did the hair thing, and the next thing you know, the more hairstylists started asking, could they get on that stage, stop the party, 11:30, 12 o'clock. It was very informal. We weren't structured. Didn't have any rules and regulations, but we just stopped it and let them show their stuff in front of the people, and the hair people had no way to advertise what they do. No platform, no shows for them. So they were loving that because stop the party, show their stuff, and they were entertainers. A lot of them wanted to get on stage with the models, and they wanted to perform, they wanted to be known. So other people in the party started paying attention to that, like, hey, I got some stuff too, I can kick their ass too, So they started signing up, and next thing you know, man, the list got longer, and we 31 years later, right now.
Okay, the first one, where was it at, and where did the inception start?
Well, there's been conflicting reports on the first one. The first one I remember was at Club Prima Donna, the old Studio 54, Gas and Bagley. And that was, used to be the Studio 54 years. Club Prima Donna, we did Soon Diallo, bongo player. He helped me we promoting the hair show, and we got some styles to do hair. And then it quickly moved on to the Cotton Club, and that's where I did the exotic hair night. But we did the first 4 weeks at the Cotton Club. That was after Prima Donna. But people really know. Well, if you talk to anybody who's been in the game since the '80s, they would tell you it started at Elon. It used to be Club Network too. That was where we took it and really worked it, called the Wednesday Night Hair Connection, and we did it every week for, almost 3 years. At the same time, we did Hair Tuesdays at Taboo. We moved to Elon, we moved it to the Mexican Renaissance. Elon dude got greedy. He wanted to just snatch my show and do his own thing, telling people he can get him on TV. I couldn't, but his stuff fell apart. So we moved it over to the Mexican Renaissance on Greenfield, on the west side of Schoolcraft. It was on Greenfield and Schoolcraft. And then I took the first big show to the Grand Quarters, Latin Quarter, whatever it was called at the time. Boy, it's torn down now. That makes me sad because that was a hell of a place in Detroit. Got a lot of history. Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis, the Rat Pack, all them. It was a good show place. Now we did a lot of big shows over there, but that was around 1990 where we actually came out to clubs and started focusing more on a bigger show. Yeah, I want to share some advice. One thing I want to say, because this is Detroit, we're talking about Detroit. I wish they would support Detroit projects more, because I hear all this about, we give back to the community, and they don't really give nothing back to the community. That's one thing I wanted to add to it, because, if all these companies doing what they do in Detroit, they still should look out for people that are active, doing events, promoting in the streets, guerrilla marketing, like in your face campaigns. Everything is so technical, and that's good too. High tech is good, but man, you gotta get in the street. And I just wanted to say that I wish the companies would be more involved with people, not just myself, but there's some other people in the city, man, doing some stuff. And all that money they spend on TV advertising, radio advertising, they all turn me down. My sponsors are from Memphis, Tennessee, Chicago for the show. And I can never get Detroit, as long as I've been doing it, to support what I do. And I think that's bad, And I think that if you got a show like this, it needs to be out there that people like Shinola, the DMC, the GM, Ford, Chrysler, all the dealerships, man, the hair people spend a lot of money in Detroit. hairstylists, clients, women mostly, they spend money, man. And I think that the company should recognize that and kind of throw some our way. Well, traveling, I tell you what really motivated me to be on the road. See, I was hired to do promotions for the New York City Fresh Festival. So in 84, Doc Elliott came down to the Studio 54 with the promoter, Ricky Walker. The same guy who does the Universal Circus today. Back then, he was the promoter of the Fresh Fest. And he said he was looking for some guys to go on the road and promote it, his first show, his first year. So they grabbed me and I left everything behind, man. I got out the club. I was doing well in the clubs, as a promoter / DJ. But I left in 84, went on the road with the Fresh Fest. And the first year we did like 35 cities. The next 2 years, I worked for 3 years with them till it crashed. The next couple of years, we did 62 cities. I was one of 3 promoters, so I would handle about 21 cities a year. That got me, I learned a lot from Ricky Walker and his thing. He trusted me, man. I was on my own promoting shows and, 2 or 3 cities at one time. You have to keep overlapping and, just keep an eye on everything. Don't believe what you hear, because it's the people in these other cities. I was dealing with a lot of the top people in every city, so there was a lot of shysters and a lot of people who could talk a lot of stuff. So he kind of trained me to watch out for that and how to deal with them. How to do the meetings where I could wear suits in the day and I could put on my gym shoes and sweats and go kick it with the brothers in the park. I did all that because, I learned a lot from him and had a good time traveling. So I knew I was going to be doing something on the road. Didn't even know it was going to be hair. I just knew that after the first year, I knew it then. Because hair was so big in Detroit, I didn't know how big it was, so I went to these other cities. I come back home, I said, damn, Bad Tina's, 24-hour salon, Charlene's, and all this was going on, and the advertising on TV, Billy Kayson, book floating around, so hair kind of hit me, and I said, that's when I kind of said, I'm going to play with this hair a little bit more, because I seen the vision, and I knew how to do parties, because I would rent my own places out, so I already knew how to negotiate deals, and how to set up rooms, how to build a room from a scale, of just give me the dimensions. I could make a room where it's going to make sense. And I took that same format and I use it today. Yeah, being a black city like Detroit is, we seem to get away with a lot more than other cities could. Big hair, when the high fashion was going on in the 90s, you could see a bank teller wearing hair like that. In other cities, it seemed like they weren't allowed to wear it or they were scared. Detroit has always been, over the edge when it comes to hair. We were innovators. We weren't copying off nobody. We started the trends, and we would go down to Brown Bros in Atlanta and get our own booths, or a lot of stylists would work for companies. They were hiring from Detroit to do styling on their stage. So if you looked at Brown Bros back then and seen all the people from Detroit, people was copying it. And the Hair Design magazine had a lot to do with it too. Billy Kayson, he's been honored too at the show, because he's 35 years, longer than me. He had the book out. The Hair Design magazine had a lot to do with Detroit's reputation of being a hair capital. So, we've always been aggressive, and Billy with his book and me with the show, traveling with the show around the country. We were doing 10 cities a year for 14 years. So and then we did 25 cities and classes. So we were moving around the whole country, promoting these stylists. And people were buying videos, and a lot of secrets were sold. A lot of people started catching up on our techniques, but they still didn't have the machine that we had out of Detroit. Me taking them on the road and the book going all over the place and making these people actually stars. These were hair stars. So they were the celebrities. When you hear of a celebrity hairstylist, you think of a stylist doing a celebrity's hair. But in Detroit, a celebrity hairstylist is a stylist. So that's the difference. In Detroit, I always had style. And you can go anywhere in the country now, name 5 or 10 hairstylists in Detroit. They could probably do it. Anybody in the hair business. And no other city could claim that. And Atlanta claims they're the hair capital too, but they're the hair convention capital. They have the biggest trade show. So we'll give them that, but don't try to claim you're the hair capital. We know where all this is. Everybody knows, the whole country knows, the world knows. It's been documented. The next show is the Motown show. We've been doing gimmicks for the last 10 years or so with the shows. And that's this one right here. It's going to be April 17th at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center in Dearborn. And we got about 25 hair entertainers, we call them, and they're gonna do a series of skits. At halftime, we're gonna honor some of the people I mentioned. We're gonna honor some of the hair icons at halftime to perform. We're also featuring JIT dancers this year. We got Strains, Hardcore Detroit, the legendary Eastside Jitter. We got the World Threat Dance Group. So we're trying to show a little more Detroit culture on this show. We got Karen Bradley, who's a bass player. He's gonna come. He plays with Lady Gaga now. He's gonna come down the runway and kick off the second half. So it's gonna be an exciting show, man. You know, and it starts at 6:05. Doors open at 5, and we do a big screen show. When you walk in the door, we got the big screen show going on. So it's like the show before the show, and then we kick it live, and we have an after party.
Just like, what tips would you give somebody, like an artist that's looking to take what they're doing on a national scale or on a larger scale? What should they know?
They should try to find somebody who has a little experience. See, the problem is some of these people, I've dealt with some, I've helped some out around the country in different cities, you know. I was trying to share my knowledge with the people. I'd rather have allies, you know, than just to have people always going against them, going against me and me going against them. The main thing is don't start too big. You know, everybody wants to reach the top, you know, like the new generation especially. It's like instant oatmeal, you know, they want it right now. But there's a way you have to develop it. You gotta start small and you gotta develop a staff. Because the staff is really the one that's gonna make your show run. There's so many parts to it. You know, I had to live and learn. I didn't have a blueprint. I mean, nobody was doing it. So I just had to figure out who I needed and what spots. Because I had a lot of bumps in the road at first. You know, things wasn't running as smooth as it should, and I had to start hiring more people, and it got ridiculous. My staff is way too big. I wish I could trim it. I look at it all the time, and I gotta keep everybody. I got 32 people working. You will never know there's that many people working the show, but there's so many little things if you want it to be done right. And you know, I would say just get with somebody who can mentor you if it's possible, or just start slow and let it build. Look down the road, you know, because it's going to happen if you work hard and you do the right things. And some people I kind of put under my wing, you know, they cut corners too much. Some of them kind of fell on their face because they broke too many rules. You can get by with some things, but they want to make all the money too quick, and that doesn't happen like that. Well, I spend on some parties. You know what? The people that give the parties don't want to pay a lot of money to DJs. You know how that goes. So I've been doing these white parties, man. They found me on YouTube. They come from London and other parts of Europe, and they'll hire me to like do a set. And they say spend an hour or spend 2 hours, and they kick it out, man. I do them kind of parties. So you may not see me in the circuit, but you know, I'm still there spinning because they want me to play the vinyl. They say, hey, we want you to play stuff you played on the scene when I used to DJ for the scene. So that's how they found it from the Super Scene mixes. And they say, you still got that? Can you bring the records? You got vinyl? I got all the vinyl I had before. I still have it all. I got my turntable set up at home. See, I never left music alone. Even though I was doing Hair Wars, I was still mixing live tapes. And I used tapes to promote the shows. And so now I just, you know, I do a little party. I sell DVDs, CDs in the store, Threads and Hamtramck, Submerged over on Grand Boulevard. You know, and then I sell some online. So I'm still moving my music. It's all old school though. I don't really care too much for that new stuff. And I'm not computerized either. I'm still vinyl. You know, I'll get a suitcase on wheels and put my records in it and I'm rolling to the party.